Hey there everyone, this is Eddie Inzauto from GamerNode.com, and I'm here giving you a review of Dead of Winter from Plaid Games. This is a game designed by Isaac Vega and John Gilmour, and what can I say? It's actually a fantastic game right off the bat, I'll tell you that. And I think for players with a video gaming history specifically, this is going to be one that you really like and really get into. Dead of Winter is a semi-cooperative game, or a cooperative game with a traitor mechanic. The group around the table will have a main objective that the entire party is trying to achieve together in order to win before either the round counter or the morale track reduces to 0. Additionally, each player has their own secret objective that they're trying to complete to be a winner in the game. So, in order to officially win according to the rules, you have to both complete the main objective as a party and also complete your own private objective. Otherwise, you're a loser. Some of those secret objectives are actually betrayal objectives. So, if you complete that objective, you have successfully done your part to go against the group, and you'll also win that way. At any time during the game, the players can vote to exile a player who then reveals whether he's a betrayer or not. And then you get an exiled card, and there are more things that you can do at that point. The primary mechanism of the game is a dice placement action selection, where each player has the number of dice equal to the number of survivors in their party plus 1. So as you gain survivors by going to these different locations and drawing a new followers card and then taking any one of the 30 different survivors that come with this game and their survivor card that tells their special abilities, you'll increase your number of dice and be able to take more and more actions. You don't have to do an action with every character you have. You can take multiple actions with one character on any given turn, and you can divide that up however you like. Some of the actions you'll be taking, like using food to heal yourself, contributing to the crisis card that will come up round upon round that all the players will have to work together to resolve to save the colony, or move from place to place. You can move. You all start inside the colony, and then in order to gather items, which will then help you complete your objectives, you'll be searching in these locations to bring those things home. Now, the way it's set up on the board today, it was with a lot of zombies out, and that's just for show. This is everything in the game. You have a ton of zombies, and there are enough of these bases for every zombie standee in the game. And then, of course, the 30 different characters, each with their own special abilities. An additional mechanic that makes this game really great and really exciting and interesting is this Crossroads deck. These cards are pulled on each player's turn by a player to their right, who then reads the card, and if the player whose turn it is achieves the condition specified on the card, either by having a particular character in play, or by making a move to a certain location, or by doing a certain action, the player will then pause the game, read the card aloud, and then ask the player whose turn it is to make a decision, to do option A or option B. And sometimes these actually apply to the whole group, in which case you'll do a thumbs up or a thumbs down and vote on the outcome of that card. And those add a really interesting flavor to the game because you never know when something like that is going to come up. So in some ways, it's also a storytelling game, as well as an adventure game and dice action selection game. It's really a very comprehensive experience, and it feels a lot like a role-playing video game without all the stats. Now, there are 2 stats for each of your characters. There's a search stat as well as a combat stat, and it's important to have players use those stats in the most efficient way. So have someone with a low required search dice roll do a lot of the searching, and have someone with a low number for their combat role would then probably focus on fighting off the zombies. Now, as you play, even if you do manage to fend off the zombies by fighting, you're going to have to roll the exposure die, which is a fun little mechanism where you get hurt or frostbitten, or the worst of all, you get bitten by a zombie. There's only one of those results on this D12. And in that case, you end up in a really sticky situation where wherever you are, you will most likely die, and you'll then pass that disease, the spread of the viral infection, on to the other survivors in that location. It's pretty messed up when that happens. It's kind of a grim outlook surrounding the narrative of this game, but it makes it really tense and really fun, especially when you have a lot of players surrounding the table, all working in sort of an air of suspicion, but wanting to survive, but still not knowing who's really on their side and who's really against them. I guess to be more specific about the way the game plays, I can just run through how a round works. So what happens is each round a crisis comes up. So for example, this one reads, Blizzard, you need 1 fuel for the number of non-exiled players in the game. Okay, and that's the crisis card that comes up, and at the end of the round, each player is going to have to or not at the end of the round, but by the end of the round, each player is going to have to contribute to that crisis, either with fuel, which is what's required, or on some other cards it might be medicine, it might be adding barricades, it might be having food in the supply, and there's always some crisis that's going to deplete from your available resources. You'll have to spend that to avoid the crisis. And if you don't, in this case, non-exiled survivors can't move until the end of the next round, and the morale track goes down. And like I said before, as the round counter goes down, if it hits 0, game ends. If the morale goes to 0, the game ends and you lose. So each round a crisis comes up, and at some point players will have to make their contribution to the crisis. But otherwise, each player takes their turn using a handy-dandy round summary and player action sheet. They roll their dice, everyone rolls simultaneously, and you keep your dice with the number of pips showing in an unused action dice section on the right side of your action sheet. Then, as you use dice to take your various actions, which I sort of ran through before, but which include, again, attacking zombies, searching a location, cleaning waste, which builds up at the colony every time you use an item. Anytime anyone uses an item, it goes into a waste pile, and at some point at the end of the round, you will check this waste pile, and if there's too much waste at the colony, that reduces morale also. So at some point you have to clean up waste. And then other actions for no action dice are playing a card, handing off cards, adding to the crisis, spending food tokens from the food supply, which is different from spending food out of your hand, requesting help from your people around the table, or again, moving from location to location, which is very risky because of the exposure die, which I mentioned earlier. Now, okay, so say a player comes from the colony and moves over here to the library. What they're going to do next is they're going to use an action die to search, and this girl has a 5 as her search number. So on only a 5 or a 6, maybe for this guy it would be a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, so that would be a much wiser person to use to search. You'll draw a card from your location. Now, if you don't like the item you got, you can choose to continue your search and make noise at the location by placing a noise token here on the location card. And then you get to draw another card. And you can keep doing that, but once you build up too much noise, zombies come. So this one is an Outsiders card. This is another card that is frequently found throughout the decks that allow you to draw. This one's a good one. It has 2 outsiders come and join your little party, and you find their standees, you take their card, and you add them at the colony. There are other cards like medicine, tools, weapons, books, food, and each location has a different ratio of the different types of items. For example, at the police station, the #1 found item is a weapon. So if you really need a weapon, you probably want to go to the police station first. If you're looking for food, the grocery store seems like a good bet. The school has food and books. The library has books and then fuel. The hospital, medicine and then fuel. The gas station, fuel and then guns. And they're all ordered on each of these cards, so you have sort of a good idea of where you should be going. But that's not to say that you can't go to the police station and end up finding food, because each of these decks, of 20 cards each, are shuffled up at the beginning of the game. So it's all luck of the draw there. But that's sort of the fun of it, the mystery, the excitement of going to these places and exploring. The game is really as much about exploration as it is about combat and crisis management, and I guess player interaction in terms of who's the betrayer and who's not. And there's not always a betrayer. Sometimes you have a nice, happy, and successful, hopefully, cooperative game. And either way, it's a lot of fun. Whether you're slinging accusations or just playing together to cooperatively survive this zombie apocalypse, you're gonna have a good time, or at least I do. This is actually one of my favorite games because of the adventuring aspect of it, and because of all of the excitement surrounding the various decks of cards in all these different locations, not knowing exactly what you're gonna find, having to search, having to explore, engaging in combat with zombies, and running into these Crossroad cards, of which there are 80 in the deck. So it's unlikely you're going to come across the same thing twice. How a crisis card might work is, say I had this card in my hand, and it says, if I move, then I come across this guy. Either I can give him fuel, or either I can give him food, or I can steal fuel from him, or whatever. That's not what this card says. I just made that up, but that's an example. Combat I didn't mention earlier, but it works in much the same way as searching. You move to even if you're in the colony here, you say I want to attack this zombie. You use one of your dice showing the correct number of pips or more. So for our girl here, she needed a 2 or more, so any one of her dice would do. And when you successfully hit a zombie, bing, they're done. At the end of each round, zombies are going to continue to pile into whatever location survivors are in, and you'll have to manage that onslaught either by fighting them off, or by building barricades that take up spaces and stop a zombie from coming on that particular round, or just getting out of there. If you're done searching the library, if you think you've done okay in that deck, and 3 zombies show up and you don't want to fight them, you don't want to put yourself at risk, you get out of there and you just don't go back. And they're not going to spread. So there are a lot of working parts here, a lot of different mechanics, and really just a lot of fun. I love this game. This is really high on my list, one of my favorite games. Perfect for someone coming from video gaming, I'll assure you of that. And it gets my highest recommendation. This is a 5 out of 5 board game. I can't see not recommending this to anyone, especially from our audience. If you're a deep strategic Eurogamer, this is obviously not a deep strategic Eurogame. But if you're not, if you're into thematic games, if you're into adventure, if you're into exploration, if you're into combat, if you like using dice to complete actions, if you like building up your party and using their skills, collecting items, equipping new weapons, it has all of that, and it's done in a very, very elegant way. All the mechanics work well, the rules are succinct to the point, and the game plays like clockwork. It's just really wonderful. Add in the social aspect, and you have one of the most well-rounded thematic games I can think of. Dead of Winter from Plaid Hat Games, 5 out of 5, no question in my mind. If you have any interest, don't hesitate. Go grab it. 2 thumbs up. And that's it. That's Dead of Winter. So if you like these videos, be sure to like and subscribe, so that way you'll be on the list to always get our videos as they come out. We're going to keep working on getting out these tabletop board game reviews. You could also head over to GamerNode.com for our written reviews, board games, video games, and hit up our Facebook page, facebook.com/GamerNode, for news updates and other videos from around the web, video game and board game related. Thanks for watching. This is Inzauto, GamerNode.com. We'll catch you later.